Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fireside Chat hosted on behalf of LongX in partnership with the fine folks at LifeXtension. At LongX, we aim to expand access to longevity education and learning opportunities globally, ensuring that the future contributors to the aging field come from the best of every country, regardless of your access to local opportunities. We do this through our flagship project, the Explore Fellowship Program, which includes access to our longevity primer course and career development opportunities with our various industry partners. And we're currently accepting applicants for this year, so please apply if you're interested. I'll now let LifeXtension introduce themselves also.
Greetings, everyone. So, Life Extension is a community dedicated to individuals who are passionate about longevity and eager to understand the aging and its implications. So, our mission is to raise awareness among young students like ourselves who are equally curious about how to improve the quality of life, not just for ourselves, but also our loved ones. We particularly aim to promote the concept of longevity within the Indian audience. At Life Extension, our mission is to make longevity research easy to understand and to create opportunities, encourage collaboration across different fields, and create opportunities for learning and taking many meaningful steps towards a healthier future. We believe longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about helping everyone live better and healthier lives.
Thank you very much. So I'll shortly introduce Suresh, and thank you. You can absolutely interrupt me here if I get something wrong.
I'll say
But,
whatever you know about me. Yeah.
Dr. Suresh Rattan wears many hats, as do many of us in this field, which feels a bit understaffed at times. His main area and the focus of his talk today, I believe, is the process of hormesis, whereby a certain measured amount of stress to one's cells can cause them to become happier, healthier, and hopefully stops them thinking about retirement. I'm sure that Dr. Rattan will go into more detail than that. He has studied and taught about aging at Aarhus University, where he's a professor, and has otherwise advanced the field of biogerontology by founding a journal called, you guessed it, Biogerontology. Makes a lot of sense to me. He's spoken about his work and the field quite extensively at conferences like ARDD, at universities, on YouTube in English, Danish, and Hindi at least. I find him to be a fantastic speaker personally, and I remember showing Fraser, who's on the call with us right now, his ARDD talk maybe 3 years ago, and noting how much I enjoyed his humor. I'd like to note there will be time for questions at the end of the talk, and if we have time, I will end the recording early after the first round of questions, and if anyone has a question they'd like to ask without being recorded, you may ask them then. Thanks for joining us again, Dr. Rattan, and please take it away.
Thanks, Dylan, for introducing. As regards questions, you can definitely interrupt me even during my so-called monologue, which I will like to make it at least minimal monologue as possible. So because this is going to be chat, I'm not going to show you any slides. I'm just going to talk about some things which I got really interested from Ishika's emails that you guys in India, the young people who are studying in BTech, MTech, research careers, just at the start of their life, basically, are getting interested in a very important question, which is 50, 60 years away from you. Yeah, but that, as Sally said, that it's not only for ourselves, it's also for our loved ones, our parents and grandparents. So that makes sense. But why, as young people, you are interested in that? Yeah? Can anybody say why, as young people, not to, are you going to, do you want to solve the problems of old age and make us live forever? What do you want to do? There may not be immediate answer coming, but I am always very in a way sportive and admirer of the youth, because they have so much energy and passion, and generally they are not carrying any strong luggage of long traditions of knowledge and information. They are really free, and they think that if we have enough money and opportunities and enough number of people, we can do anything we like, which is wonderful. Yeah, that kind of thing mostly is how we define youthfulness, youth. Say. In the last 10 years or so, there has been another trend and tendency about dealing with the question of aging from another point of view, that we can do it And there is a lot of money and fame possible out of it. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested. And I don't think they are only from, say, purely health point of view, because those are investors who are investing money. And the name of the game in capitalistic system of investment is this must come out with something which gives them better return. And lots of young people are also getting attracted to that. Yeah, that's where might be fame, and but there is nothing wrong in that. So they should do that. Maybe something good will come out of it. But then one has to understand why we want to do it. Can we do anything we like, or we need to carry some recapitulation of at least last 60 years of hundreds of aging researchers, the biogerontologists, who have spent their lives and died in that field, creating certain understanding. Yeah. Dylan mentioned about hormesis. That's just one part, one of my latest area in which I got interested, but we'll talk about that. But the thing is, most of the time we were using the word anti-aging. Yeah. But I think about 25 or almost 30 years ago, I became so anti of that word anti-aging. Because when I realized that, yes, I am aging every day, I am aging. I cannot be anti against myself. Yes, I can do something about my life. Another thing, already old people have so much discrimination, so much bias in society, which we call ageism. And then if scientists and scientific trends and business also promotes this idea of anti-aging, what does it actually mean? Anti-aging. Do you want to stop aging, or you want to revert aging, or you want to kill it, whatever? So I almost in late 1990s started talking about the term healthy aging. That let's have old age, because we are dealing with biology. I will expand on that a little bit more. That why anti-aging even biologically cannot work, how the biological systems work. Then we started using the word healthy aging, and there were institutes of healthy aging coming up slowly, slowly. But in the last 5, 6 years, the term healthy aging has become very popular, and even the next step taken, healthy longevity. Now, although sometime when I discuss with my friends, or even last week with my friend in Amritsar, Gurcharan, I was asking, hey, how do we distinguish between the word lifespan and longevity? Is it same or is it different? Maybe some of you can help me. I still haven't sorted it out in my mind. That why we where do we use the word longevity, and where do we use the word lifespan or health span? There is a third term also. Yeah, but these are, again, that's a kind of a tsunami in the last 10 years or so, where this longevity, medicine, gerosciences, so many terms are coming in. Lots and lots and lots of conferences are always being held, where people are talking about this compound, that compound will target at this biochemical pathway, at this. There are more than 250 such tested compounds in the database, which is maintained by my friend Joao Magalhães. 250 so-called geroprotectors, they call it. So the problem should have been solved by this time. Out of 250, can't we use 20, 40, 50, make some combination and live forever? There is not even of a single compound which any of the serious scientists can actually say, I tell you to take it and you will become young. Not a single compound, even those hyped ones, rapamycins or MMM. Then it comes with lots of ifs and buts and all that. Why not? No scientist actually is willing to stretch his neck out. I give you this compound magic pill, and it will make you young and live indefinitely or as long as you want. Why not? Why can't they say it? And is that approach going to work if you young scientists also get into the field with the same approach, finding another compound from this plant or that animal or synthetic or natural? And then, because in the last 60 years, this is a great achievement of biogerontology research, that we basically know almost everything about what happens. with any level, from the population to individuals, within an individual, organ, tissue, cells, molecules, metabolism. Fantastic achievement. Yeah, that takes 10 lectures in my biogerontology course to cover it. And that is not a small achievement. So then we have so many possible things that sometimes I ask some of my colleagues to give them little trouble that can you point out in this metabolic chart what is not related to aging? Yeah. Or is it just a matter of finding it because you haven't measured it so far? Is there anything which you can really say, no, it has nothing to do with age and aging and lifespan or other thing? You can challenge my any comment anywhere. I asked that question to a very, very powerful and very intelligent guy, Brian Kennedy, who everybody knows in the world. He's the director in Singapore. So it is, I said, Brian, can you give me one example which is not related to age? And he said, growth of nails. I said, but because we haven't measured it. If we start measuring what is the growth rate of nail, even there will be a graph coming. Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to say is just because we have measured so many things, we cannot just pick up one point at a time and try to intervene there either by stimulation or by inhibition or by activation. It applies to not only the metabolic target, but even genetic targets. Now, why? Why that is happening? That why it is not easy to go from bottom back to upward. We have come from physiology, or even in our species, from psychology, all the way downward to molecular biology at its greatest detail. But it's almost impossible, so far at least, I'm just taking a precautionary note, to go back. I can give you a compound which increases your telomere length, which is very high thing. Do you become young? I can give you something which can change your methylation pattern on that day, which is different from yesterday. Have you become young? Yeah. And what does it mean to become young? And then aging field has been obsessed with targeting, using anti-aging by creating this fear. Because when we age, we have more chances of getting one or more diseases, which is absolutely true. Now, you cannot change my behavior by frightening me what may happen to me in 40, 50 years' time. It doesn't actually work. That is how the same philosophy applies to ethical behavior. You cannot improve my ethical behavior by telling me otherwise I will be spending whatever time in hell and suffering there and punishment. No, it doesn't work. It has never worked. You know, you can go in thousands. That's why what religions have been doing, and they are struggling all the time. So that approach, creating the fear approach, has worked for certain, say, those infectious diseases or other kind of stuff, but not the diseases of old age. What is the cause of diseases of old age? Is there any specific cause of Alzheimer? No, because when we pick up on a cause like accumulation of beta amyloid, and then you do trials, there are more than 50 clinical trials which have failed tremendously because that was the target. Let's concentrate on beta amyloid and remove it and live happily thereafter. No, it doesn't work like that, because cause of Alzheimer, if you want to take this disease approach, Alzheimer, Parkinson, osteoporosis, diabetes, you name any disease, most cancers, the cause of all those things is what? Life itself. The biggest cause of problems in our body is oxygen. We know their theories. Biggest cause of problems, damage causing things is the food, the sugars in the food. Basic biochemistry is the biggest problem giving things. Yeah? So cause of aging and age related any things which you want to handle is the life itself, first of all. So that is how my understanding slowly developed. If I want to do something about my old age or everybody else's old age, I need to understand how do we live anyway and why do we live. So, of course, there is lots and lots of knowledge and information available about what is life. How do you know a living thing from a non-living thing? So we will not go into those things here, but understanding why we live in the first place. And then comes for how long we should live. This is where aging research should actually start and has started giving its focus. So why do we live? Yeah. Well, again, coming to some simple answers, that we are able to live because through evolution hundreds and hundreds of metabolic processes and repair systems and maintenance systems have evolved so that we don't die, so that we stay functional. Otherwise, a newly born baby is so in a way vulnerable to so many things outside and inside. It's a miracle that it lives. It lives because evolution has given genes to assure survival. And those are, again, I cannot put a number on that, which are, if you want to make a hierarchy of genes, which are more important than others. Generally, in the field of aging, we say the genes involved in repair and maintenance, those are the central for survival. Others are metabolism, which is also survival, but which will determine how long we live. And like DNA repair or antioxidants and all the way to immune system and protein, everything. And there are hundreds of genes involved, and we understand all these processes very well. Then why do we start dying at some stage? If these processes where evolution has worked for hundreds of millions or billions of years to optimize for different species, evolution has worked on the survival of the populations or species. And that is why those genes which are essential for that kind of survival are now termed, for the last 25 years or more, longevity assurance genes. That terminology came from yeast people like Brian Kennedy. I was also at that time student. I coined at that time a term called vita genes to deal with those genes which are most essential for survival. But vita genes term didn't catch up that much. But longevity assurance genes, this is what gives us life and lifespan. Now comes how long the lifespan should be. How long I should live. And that comes with the question of what is the purpose of my life? So if somebody wants to tell me or help me out here in what is the purpose of a human being?
I have always said, in terms of my answer, how long I would want to live, it is for as long as I have something or someone to live for. That has always been my answer. And so my lifespan, I would like it to be kind of contingent upon the lifespan of my family, the lifespan of the ideals to which I attach myself, and the lifespan of my environment, of my culture.
Yeah, very, very good. You have already brought a very, very important issue in the case of human beings. But how long a Drosophila should live, or a rat should live, or a cat should live? Yeah? Or as a biological system, how long you as a Homo sapiens should live? So that is then the other part of, maybe somebody can answer that aspect. So he's giving me the answer as a human being. How long will depend upon many conditions he has raised, whether he's happy, whether he's satisfied, whether his friends are there, his loved ones are there. Those are lots of ifs and buts. These conditions no other biological system can put. How long a Drosophila should live? Anybody, please jump in. Okay, because if we carry on this way, we will not finish in 3 days even. Okay, that's the kind of workshops I give. So biological purpose of life, we derive, or the why we live, basically from the Darwinian evolutionary theory. That gives answer to why we live anyway. The Darwinian evolutionary theory gives the answer. The purpose of life is to carry on living. Not through your own body, but maybe through the next generation and the generation and the generation. So I coined a term about 20 years ago, that much lifespan which is needed by a species in evolutionary terms in its natural environment. I called it essential lifespan. Yeah. Some of my friends like Jay Olszewski called it also warranty period. Yeah, like we put on the product, that's the warranty, that life should not disappear before that. So essential lifespan for a Drosophila in nature, so that it is eggs are laid and new one comes out after all the stages and reaches and produces the next generation, is around 8 to 10 days. But those of you who are familiar with the aging research models, when you work on Drosophila in the laboratory, it lives at least one month, or it can be made to live 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. A rat's essential lifespan is about 1 year in nature. But all laboratory scientists know that in a laboratory condition, it lives 2.5, 3, 4, 5. There are projects on that. But nature has only given that much lifespan. So for Homo sapiens, our lifespan, as calculated by evolutionary biologists and many ways of calculating it, is only 45 years for Homo sapiens. So the purpose of life of Homo sapiens is exactly the same like the purpose of life of any other animal, which is depressing because we want to feel special. Yeah, we are made by, if we are believers in certain faith-based philosophies, then that is even more upsetting. Yeah, because we are supposed to be created in the image of somebody and this and that and special purpose. But that's a totally different area. Maybe one day we can give it, like, what makes me human? How do you know I am a human being? I might be an angel or a devil. Yeah. How do we know? What makes us human? Is it just our genetic sequence, our metabolism, or our life, or our behavior? Yeah, but that's a fascinating area. But that's where human societies did something which no other animal has done. That's where evolution of language, culture, arts, religion, philosophy, these are all part of making me human. But here today we take as a biology question that life has been created or evolved for essential lifespan of a species. So you may like it or you may not like it. You start into old age, like there is an infancy, there is childhood, there is adolescence, there is youth, and then within youth there is maturity, and then old age. So old age in biological terms starts when an organism lives beyond its essential lifespan of the species, which is again difficult sometimes to accept in modern times, because the day I celebrated my birthday, 45th birthday, which will be now 25 years ago, that's when I entered into old age. I may not like it, yeah, but biology, Saint Darwin will say, this is when aging has started. And this is what aging still is. If you look at the worldwide average lifespans, when I show in my slides, the range of life expectancy in the world as per 2023, there are countries with around 47 years life expectancy versus up to 86, 87 years. And that is nothing to do with biology. That's primarily sociology, medical sciences, health services. So, first of all, tell your parents and grandparents who are old, and like me, I old age, becoming old in evolutionary terms is a privilege. Congratulations if you become old. It's not your birthright. This is the greatest achievement of human beings, that we have challenged nature's restriction and doubled up the lifespan. That's not a small achievement. It's a great, great, great achievement, which basically came by medical development, not by changing our physiology or processes, by avoiding death early on. That kind of increase which happened in the last 150 years will never happen again. Right now, people like demographers Jay Olszewski will discuss, even if you take away all the 7 or 8 major diseases of old age, including cancer, cardiovascular, Alzheimer, at a population level, that might add around 7 years of life at a population level. Yeah? Because that kind of revolution which happened by eliminating infectious diseases, by improving hygiene, by cleaning water, that revolution cannot happen again unless we totally redesign the body. That's it now, a different area. We'll maybe come to that. So, time, please. Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to use up all the. So basically, the approach comes if we are living longer and we know there are problems which come with age, there is nothing good biologically when you live longer than your species lifespan. That's another message I want to tell you guys. You keep track of your bodies or health, and when you are in old age, there is not even a single good thing biologically happening. Tell me one example what becomes better with age. Most of the examples you will come up, most likely they will be sociological if we believe in those. Yeah? Biologically, I cannot actually give you something which you can say, this is actually becoming good, and I'm looking forward to that happening to me. No, not at all. Not at all. And sociologically, also, there is nothing much to look forward to. The way societies are organized, they are so youth obsessed societies, they are anti old people. Old people face loneliness, they feel abandonment, they're invisible when people get fired from the jobs. Who are the people? There is nothing sociologically. So we need to have healthy aging and long life at all these levels. Why I'm pushing these things. Yes, you scientists will come maybe with biological interventions, which hundreds of scientists are coming. So what kind of intervention you should have? What should it do? Because another beautiful thing from biogerontological research is evolution hasn't made any program for my old age or my death. There is nothing in my body which evolved with a purpose to make me old. I do become old. I will die also. I will have problems also. But it is not because there is an enemy sitting there, a gerontogene or some other kind of a dangerous genetic pathway, which is measuring time, that so much time is gone and now so much remaining. These days in biology or biogerontology, we talk about clocks also, but that clock is measuring to some extent passage of time. Yeah, it doesn't say how much time is remaining. It can never tell. So they use the word there. So there are no gerontogenes, another term which I coined in 1984. Gerontogenes don't exist. They cannot exist. Longevity assurance genes exist. This is very freeing. This means that you have to do something yourself. If there was a enemy gene, it should be actually easy because at some stage, theoretically at least, you cut that gene out or neutralize it and then you live forever. All genes affected, we need to improve upon that, and that's where the concept comes, how to maintain health. Can we maintain our health or also recover health if we are feeling that loss of health is happening, which will then affect many things. It might affect my lifespan. I should not worry about that. It might affect on and presence or absence of some diseases. A lot of people obsessed with healthcare and other, they also die on the street with heart attacks. All these health enthusiasts, the obsessed people with health enthusiasm. So a lot of people are doing those kind of things. In Netflix, just 2 weeks ago, a new documentary has come about this guy, Brian Johnson. It's called Do Not Die or Don't Die. Yeah, these are fantastic people who can be crazy or who can be fantastic. Who eats about 120 pills every day. Yeah, and he's putting various injections of genes and other thing. Okay, he's using his money, which he made billions of dollars on himself, and he's not pushing anybody else, but he's creating a lot of wrong, in a way, hopes for a lot of people. So that is one approach. You can work on more and more individual components and their combinations. But there is nothing to be neutralized. There is no enemy which so anti-aging requires an enemy. Well, I used to call it American way of doing things. That if you want to deal with a country and if you have an enemy, life becomes easy because then you send missiles and get rid. But if there is no enemy, then what do you do? That is where you need to find methods of how to maintain and improve health. I don't say that those 250 or 300 geroprotectors don't work. Yeah, they all work to their own little target in some way. But in biology, this properties of compensation, adaptation, bypassing. You touch the metabolic system at one level, 100 other things happen far away from that system. We still don't even understand. You can stop rapamycin induced mTOR. Yeah, but the body goes around with many other ways. So each target has a small little value, but not rejuvenating value. So to actually prove that your physiology has become like more younger age is very, 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 very difficult at the moment. We can show all the individual biomarkers, and that's what industry is making a lot of money in that. Somebody's measuring telomere, some is measuring methylation, some is measuring your microbiome. They are very good. They can help you. So you can do many things, right from even cosmetics you can use, which are not even supposed to do anything. Yeah, that's what the word cosmetic is. But cosmetic has very other important role. It makes you feel good. So if you look into the mirror every day, and if I look and I don't like any something on my face, okay, make it up. That's what's called makeup. Make up what you don't like in yourself. The question there is why you don't like your appearance. Is that peer pressure, social pressure? Oh, that's another philosophy and sociology. So at the superficial level, or even at a medical level, if you don't like your face and your other thing, then please do something about it. If you're so obsessed about wrinkles, take Botox. It will help you for 1 or 2 months. Then you have to take another injection. If you don't like your thinness of the lips, get them filled up. Now, that kind of things, okay, good luck to you. But they are not doing anything on aging, first of all. That is where finally, quickly, I will talk about this concept of hormesis, that we need whole body holistic approaches. And holism, not in a hocus pocus manner of holism, because a lot of people call themselves holistic. You can ring the bells and go around the trees and upside down. They call, no, no, no. Scientists want to be holistic, but in terms of from molecule to the body and mind level totality. Yeah, that is what holistic for a scientist is. Because so far science has been very reductionistic. And there we have realized there are serious limitations. We cannot carry on further with reductionism. We have to. So there the concept of hormesis, which was actually introduced in 1930s, that toxic things at a lower level have opposite beneficial effects from fungal research. And it's a biphasic curve. That was the starting point. And now it is shown for thousands of compounds and radiation that there is no such thing as a linear curve or no threshold linear curve. Always curves are biphasic. At low level, if something is giving you better health effects, the same thing will be toxic. I can kill myself by drinking this coffee. It will be a matter of what dose I go to. Yeah. And the best example of hormesis in life, you all know, and young people do too much of that, that's physical exercise. What is good about exercise in biochemical terms? Nothing. When you're doing exercise, it's the horrible, horrible thing we are doing to our body. We produce billions of new free radicals. We produce acids. Our cells are dying. And everybody knows that moderate exercise, in the recovery period especially, will give you certain benefits, which we may or may not be able to measure on a single dose exposure. Yeah, one round of exercise, you may not be able to get what has good happened. But like exercise says, slowly, not only exercise will improve the muscles you have exercised, it improves your mind, your immunity, your cognition, your memory, your sex life. Everything gets improved by exercise. And I don't think there is anybody in the world anymore left who doubts the power of exercise at all levels. And people didn't know why it was happening. That is where the field of hormesis then provided explanation that when you induce stress at a certain level in that biphasic curve, body has its systems of survival, which I have been talking. There is no enemy killing it. It's trying to live, but those systems are failing. I forgot to say that why those systems fail. That's another very important concept to be understood. Why biology, which created these fantastic systems, why don't they work forever? Well, That is where the law of imperfections come. There is nothing perfect in our universe, and hopefully in the parallel universe also. There is no example of anything perfect if you also accept the laws of quantum physics and the laws of entropy, and you believe in change. If there is a change, that's a sign of actually, you cannot have one perfect thing changing into another perfect thing. There will be no evolution if there was perfection. The first Mr. Bacteria, if it was, it will still be there because there will be no mutations. There will be no errors. So there is no perfect system. Evolution has worked so much to give us just enough perfection or working condition so that our species don't die in large numbers before essential lifespan. After that, evolution it basically forgets us. It does not kill us. It doesn't do anything especially good for us also. Although body tries to do as long as it can survive. A lot of changes happening with aging are actually adaptive. The body tries to survive. There is no fun for the body to die. It tries its best, but then at certain level, the same things it cannot carry on. Even collection of some fat on the body, that's an adaptive change in old age because the bones are getting weaker and those kind of things, if don't happen, you will break the bones. So we need holistic things, and hormesis is the concept with exercise as an example, which is very well studied, and we are still working. Everybody wants to know more, what exercise, how long, when. And anything which causes hormesis, then I introduced the term called hormetin. Yeah, like vitamin term was introduced in 1910. That's something which gives you vitalistic life energy. They called it vitamin. Yeah. Although later on, all the vitamins they work through. So I coined the term hormetin. Like exercise is a physical hormetin. In physical hormetins, radiation is another. Sounds paradoxical, but hundreds of published papers on model systems that low-level repeated radiation is so-called aging modulatory and lifespan extending. Sauna, cold baths, these are the examples of physical. Then psychological hormetins, keeping your mind active, social engagement, playing Sudoku, reading. Nutritional hormetin, yeah, or that is the most active research area. Things which we can take either as supplements or other things, which can actually give you benefits because they are poisons. All spices come under that category. All those haldi or ginger or garlic or polyphenol, they have no nutritional value in terms of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. They have hormetic value. They go and challenge the system. Then you see end result, which can look like antioxidative, but like especially for turmeric. Turmeric is actually inducing oxidative stress in the cell, but the end result can be antioxidative. So hormetin area brings this thing that we have to think in a different way. And hundreds of now companies and researchers are searching for even things like resveratrol, this David Sinclair's popular stuff, and a lot of herbal products, ashwagandha or other, they induce stress responses. So that is what we have. So again, trying to shorten it out, hormesis to me is at the moment looks like a very powerful holistic intervention which allows you to use all kind of technology, all medicines, because if things are seriously wrong, you still need to depend upon the successful biomedical model. Yeah, it's only the doctors who can then put a stent there or give you certain medicine, use that. But otherwise, maintaining health requires our own participation, and that is a lifelong process. Of course, it can be done even in old age. The returns become a little less proportionately. It's called the law of decreasing, what is that insurance term? Bonuses when you start doing something. So, but it works all the time. So what we need to do is, first of all, accept and adopt this hormetic way of thinking, how to live life hormetically, which basically means don't try to attain any state of stress-freeness. There is never going to be stress-free life, but you can choose your stress. Self-chosen stress is always going to be good, Exercise is one example. Hundreds of compounds in Gero products, they will show that self-chosen physical, mental, social stress is going to be good. And then how do we use this stress in a hormetic way? Three final principles. The stress you choose to expose to must give you pleasure. If you don't like salad, it's not going to make me happy. I can teach myself to enjoy salad, yeah, but I should choose the food which gives me pleasure. We can always learn to choose carefully. We all know what are the extremes, but in a biphasic thing, this always the do. Pleasure is one important part which biology has ignored throughout last 200 years. That's a psychology. No, no, no. Psychology is very, very important. Why I eat some kind of food and not the other food. Yeah, a few years ago, Gurcharan and I, we brought a very important book, yeah, which is called Nutrition, Food, and Diet. Nutrition is the chemicals. We don't eat them. We eat food, which is plants or animals. But we don't eat just plant or animal food. We prepare the food and eat in a certain context. You cannot give me a scientific formula for a healthy food, which I don't like. I will kill myself after a few days. So our conclusion in that book, our editorial end result was that old slogan, we are what we eat, is wrong. I do not become an apple by eating apple. I do not become a banana by eating banana. But I need to know, why do I eat banana? Why do I like it? I eat what I am. We eat what we are. We are not what we eat, but we eat what we are. And that's where culture, philosophy, childhood exposures, habits, education, they all come in the picture. So you eat what you are. And that's where the knowledge can help us. Okay, we can modify our food habits out of that. But if you keep me pushing, the Mediterranean diet is very good for Mediterranean people, not for me. I can enjoy it as an outgoing once a week or once a month in a Greek restaurant. But for South Indians, if they don't get their sambar and other thing, or I'm from Punjab, from Amritsar, my paratha is needed for me, whatever the side effect. Anyway, so hormetic way of life, which requires pleasure. The second part of hormesis is moderation, because that is what determines dose response, that it cannot be overdoing of anything. Even happiness overdoing is terrible. Even social life overdoing is terrible. Even exercise overdoing is terrible. So it has to be moderation. That is the difficult part. How do we measure moderation for at individual level? How much this and the third is variety, that you cannot stick to those things. So things have to be many combinations, because a lot of the good effects of hormesis come during so-called recovery period. Exercise gives you benefit the day after, not during it. So that's why good athletes, good sports people, they change over the muscle sections which are to be exercised. So pleasure, moderation, and variety. That's the hormetic way of life, where you choose your stress. And the final three formula which come out of that is for the, especially if you want to teach the older generation, what we call is, first of all, acknowledgement, knowing that yes, old age is there. I recognize it. And second part is accept it, acknowledging it, accepting it, and then challenging it with whatever way you can. So young biologists, biotech people, all these kinds of guys, you are most welcome to come into this field. We need to do something about our health at all ages. What approach you want to take, this is the time to start thinking and reading about it. Thank you. I think I should stop here to give you some time for some discussion. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I absolutely love the way that you put, I think this is during your ARDD talk, when you were talking about stress and the necessity of it. If there is no stress, you are dead. That is my favorite way of putting hormesis ever.
Yeah, life is basically a response to stress. Okay. Well caught, Dylan. You got the central message.
If if anyone would like to ask a question, you can feel free to ask it in whatever language, English, Danish, Hindi, Punjabi, any language
Yes.
that
Yeah. But
Dr.
no
Rattan
Tamil, no
speaks.
Telugu, those South Indian languages I haven't yet been Yes. Challenging, commenting, questioning, anything. Somebody to help me. Don't take me as a sannyasi sadhu from Mahakumbh, that Sadhu Baba has spoken and fine, now, jai ho, jai ho. For that, let's go to Prayagraj. There's a fantastic event going on there.
I'll ask something just to get the conversation going. Oh, here we are.
Please. Yes.
Oh, there's a question in chat. Why is health important?
Yeah, why is health? Very, very important question. Actually, we didn't touch on that. Yeah, why should I be healthy? I have always asked that. Why should I be healthy? Because usually the answer given is otherwise you will be suffering. And I say it doesn't matter. Yeah. So why is health important? Yeah, very important. There is no clear answer, but the answer for that for me is that being healthy allows me to live my day-to-day life the way I would like to live. Yeah, that's my only justification. And that definition of health then changes. If like yesterday, I was giving a 2-hour lecture to some group in Copenhagen. So yesterday, my requirement was that I should have enough energy so that I can stand 2 hours in front of these 40 highly educated doctors and other thing and perform it. Yeah. But then in the evening, I needed health to be able to play with my 8-year-old granddaughter and my 5-year-old grandson who want to jump on Dadaji and beat him up. So for me, health is having adequate freedom or freedom, physical and psychological freedom to live my day-to-day life. And that's why our concept of health is very fluid. So that is why if somebody doesn't want to be healthy in whichever way, yes, good luck to them. But we cannot use the argument for health from political, social, economical arguments. Oh, otherwise you are so expensive, we can't afford you, but better you die. Yeah. So health is important, whoever asked it, for me to live my day-to-day life the way I would like to live.
Thank you very
Sir, I would
much.
like to ask a question.
Yeah. Who is going to ask?
So, thank you. So, according to you, how much years can humans live? Like you have explained us, why should we, like, a range, according to
Hmm.
you, is an
Mhm.
appropriate range for a healthy lifespan?
From what we understand in biology so far, there is no intrinsic range. There is no intrinsic limit. It's the byproduct of the evolutionary construction, the way our body is evolved, that so far somebody has lived up to 122 years. Yeah. Whether anybody will
Mhm.
live even more than that, there are my colleagues who will like to claim, yes, 500,000. People like Aubrey de Grey would like to claim that. But to say that there is a program or ultimate, there is no theoretical limit, but there is a practical limit, the way the body is constructed. So if you keep on redesigning the body all the time, even that Brian Johnson is getting certain kind of muscle promoting genes inserted into his muscles. Elizabeth Parrish is getting telomerase genes inserted. So there is no limit, but you will die. That's why in some of my public lectures, I use a very nice phrase that we are all immortal, but we die one day before immortality.
Thanks for the answer. There's another question here in chat. There are two. I'll ask the one from someone who hasn't spoken yet, from Neha Anil. Where do we draw the line for moderation in terms of healthy diet and exercise?
That is the most rate limiting effect for our hormesis research in general. That what is the moderate or hormetic dose, and that applies to every kind of stress. Yeah. Like when I did experiments with the human cells in culture, I was choosing heat shock as a stressor. We know there is a lot of molecular biology in heat shock research done at 43 degrees or 45, but that was not hormetic. So I had to titrate that which temperature and how time, but there were so many combinations at some stage I had to just take a guess. Yeah. So what we found out eventually was a hormetic stress, which is potentially going to be good for you, is which is about 30% of your maximum response for that stress. That was the inference from heat shock experiments done. That if under severe stress, under heat shock, your cells can tolerate and they increase HSP90 or all those 10, 15 heat shock proteins to 100% maximum response. Find the titration where it's a 30% response. Now you can ask me, why 30? Why not 40? Why not 20? Yes, that question cannot be answered because there are so many combinations and I need a full institute to test all those on all different types of cells and people. So that is if we can measure your stress response to that particular stress, like exercise people have found out that somewhere around 80% of your VOX, if you do exercise, that is beneficial. And they generally tell you, I don't know how they have reached that number, but they must have done a lot of tests on that. So that is a very important issue. And not only that, you can only measure the stress threshold by reductionistic science by one at a time, for any compound. But in reality, even if you want to study for turmeric, for a curcumin, nobody eats curcumin. It's a haldi, we eat it. And haldi is not eaten on its own. Haldi is part of our cooking together with the black pepper and salt and many other spices. And science is not ready at the moment. So yes, these are some future areas which these scientists can adapt. How to do research on very complex, interactive feeding systems. Exercise people cannot do, for example, blind studies. But they have agreed that we don't have to have double blind studies because it's not that you don't know that you are exercising. Yeah. So food people have to come in the same way. But exercise, but that again, I'm just now repeating it. That's one of the most important and rate limiting step for hormetic research, how to determine what is the range of hormetic stress for an individual and then for different cell types. Yeah. That question is there even for DNA methylation. You measure methylation in some cell type in the blood, but there are 600 cell types. What is the correct? And these are very difficult things, but that's where AI will help us, where we have huge amount of data. Maybe Professor Artificial will do better than Professor Real. So
I love that dynamic, Professor
yes.
Artificial and Professor Real.
Yeah, that's why
Well,
I hate the word homeostasis. I forgot to that. Never use the word homeostasis. Any biologist there? Hate the word. There is nothing homeostatic in living systems. They are very dynamic system, and there is a different term by somebody else. So don't think I'm pushing myself. It's called homeodynamics. And I just modified it into homeodynamic space, that which is our ability to live. There is no homeostasis. So sometimes people use dynamic homeostasis. Okay, that's a reasonable compromise. So
one more question here. There are many factors which affect health. How to understand these different aspects or how to work towards being healthy?
again, first of all, you will have to choose for yourself what kind of health you are looking for. If you are looking for absolute health, there is no such thing. The health is always a fluid and flexible concept. The definition of health, actually, I don't have that book here where I invited philosophers, scientists, demographers, psychologists, how to define health. The WHO's definition is health is a state of physical, mental, social well-being and not absence of disease. But it doesn't tell us what is well-being. So then we created a definition which is health is absolute state of independence in physical and mental activities of daily living. Absolute independent. It is nonsense because nobody can have it. Yeah, but that's the ideal. So the practical definition of health is adequate independence in physical and mental activities of daily life. And adequate is where, what does health mean to me? If I want to go out and challenge Rafael Nadal on tennis, that will be my stupidity at this age to do that. Another extreme example I sometimes give in lectures, at some stage in life, health for me might be that I am able to get up from my bed and reach the toilet in time. Did you get it? That might be a great achievement. And that's one very serious issue in old age, when we don't have control over our mobility, our toilet control. They don't want to run around. The government wants to go, do, da, 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 da. No, those are their different reasons. So health, again, is a very fluid concept. Please find out what is health to you today or tomorrow or yesterday, and then work for that. So don't look for an absolute solution to absolute health.
Thank
And
you, sir.
especially in young age, please don't do too much. A lot of young people are getting obsessed by gyms and health. They are paying the price in a lot of physiological functions, especially reproductive age getting affected. There are data coming from Europe. And on the other side is, the other side when you do the overeating, another thing of the upper middle class problem of obesity. Yeah, that's my colleague, Professor Gurcharan Kaur, getting more and more involved into that aspect. But maybe in India, obesity still is a issue of special class of people. Yeah.
Do you have to go on the hour, or should we keep answering more
No, well,
questions?
I am available. I can manage. It's okay, 4 o'clock. If there is need, if people are not bored and they are not getting out, a university
Okay.
professor can talk for hours.
Well, we can keep on going. There are some people who have more questions.
Please.
Karthik has asked the same question. I will get to Karthik's after. I just want to ask, make sure everyone gets one question in, at least. Shiva asked, generally humans have the ability to live beyond essential lifespan that you mentioned, so there must be
Yep.
more reasons for long life, not just reproduction of themselves, especially looking at
Yep.
females living till 50 years after the menopause.
50 years after the menopause, that's a modern achievement. Yeah. Our so-called historical average lifespans, first of all, this menopause in evolution is only in 2 or 3 species. That's where the demographers and evolutionary biologists have brought in the grandmother effect aspects of that. Lifespans beyond around 45, that has never averaged for the population. Individuals can survive because there is no killer. Yeah. By chance, Madam Jean Calment has survived 122 years. So yes, some people can live with the help of getting proper food, proper medical care, saving from infection. Whether evolution has, what I already said, evolution has neither given us breaks and it has neither given fantastic methods to live longer. It just allows us to live longer. So that's why responsibility comes on us. We have to do something about it. My message is that instead of concentrating on the length of lifespan, that I need to live longer, maybe if I concentrate more that I need to live in a more healthy manner, there will be a bonus coming out of that as having less medical diseases. Yeah? Like the brains are going to age in everybody's case. 15% of the people after age 85 will get labeled as Alzheimer. But 85%, their brain is also aging. That is a different question about where do we draw the line between health and disease or non-disease and disease. There are people in our field who are pushing really hard to label aging as a disease. That should be disease, then we can treat it. Well, so I have to sometimes argue with them on public platforms about that. So yes, people can live longer. Human beings have doubled up the average life expectancy. Somebody has lived almost 3 times the essential lifespan. Aubrey D. Gray can give you the hope for even 1,000 years, 5,000 years. I give you hope for immortality minus 1 day. You will die just 1 day before immortality. I hope you can digest my way of expressing
Oh,
that.
I love how you put these things. I really do. Yeah. Okay, so we are getting thank yous in here. There's one question that Karthik has asked a few times, so I want to make sure he does get this one in. How the female brain is different from the male brain, and how stress is managed by the brain through the nervous system.
These sex differences in biology is still one of the major knowledge gaps in whole biology and specifically in aging research. We know they are different. We don't know what exactly is different and to what extent they are overlapping or not. Last year, I wrote a very important article called 7 Knowledge Gaps in Biogerontology. And the first point was actually this difference between males and females, sex differences, which can be seen throughout the biological system. So I am not a specialist on talking about woman's brain versus man's brain or any other gender's brain. If Professor Gurcharan Kaur wants to say something, she's most welcome to join it. But that's a very, very important question, and we have a big knowledge gap in that. Would
Yes.
you say something,
Can
Gurcharan?
Can
Yes.
I add something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if we go by the size, no, the male and the female brain is approximately 10% larger than the female brain, but it really does not impact the intelligence. It doesn't impact the working of the brain. So, and there's one region which is part of the parietal cortex, which actually deals with solving mathematical problems and speed and all. So that is little larger in males compared to the female brain. So, as such, the brain, as far as the working and intelligence is concerned, there is no difference or very minimal difference is there. But the second part of the question is how the brain manages the stress. So there is a hypothalamo-hypophyseal adrenal axis, HPA, which is working between the brain and the periphery. So this HPA axis works through the hormones and the factors, chemical factors, you can say, like cortisol, adrenaline, and all. So there is a feedback mechanism. So any type of stress to the body, which can be perceived at the level of periphery, it impacts the brain, and then through this axis, there is secretion of these hormones, which we also call the stress hormones like cortisol. So this fight and fright situations we sometimes face, they are again the part of the, it's a long story, just to put it short, that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is also associated with the stress responses. So this is in brief what I can share with you right now, but you need to dig out a lot more.
You should give an independent lecture to these guys some other day.
Yeah, maybe sometime
on that.
Yeah.
But that part of the important thing about brains working of men and women differently, or male and female differently, for our species is mostly a social question. What are the things we value?
Not the biological,
Exactly. So if we value intelligence, and which kind of intelligence, yeah, I may be intelligent in certain way of life, but in a different culture, different time, different place, I might be the biggest idiot. Yeah, those are social constructs.
Social context.
So that question which Karthik or whoever asked it, that who is doing better, what do we value that will become better? If we value empathy or other thing, maybe then we can say a female or a woman. So that is again, in biology, we talk about females and males. In human beings, we'll talk about women and men. And these days, we are more conscious also about the other genders. Yeah, because just these two binary, a lot of people react to that. So when we talk biology, we stick to males and females. And there is what Gurcharan made very clear. There is very little difference between male and female brain. Okay, anybody? There are so many people there. Come on, guys. Can I pick up on you? Rubia ji, you are still there. You can ask me something. Okay, yeah, Dylan, you do that.
There was a follow-up question from Karthik there, I think. Is that really handling the emotional quotient more than the intelligent quotient in both?
Well, again, that's a psychologists have created all these various quotients. Even intelligence, there is 10 types of intelligence, in which context. What is more important basically is what makes you, in our species, a good, better human being. Please choose that. How do you become a better human being, and why should I be better human being? That's another question. Yeah. I am not looking for any moksha or other things which is happening in Prayagraj right now. Adhyatamvad. How, as a scientist or as a normal person who doesn't believe in any supernatural kind of ideas, why should I be nice to you guys or to each other or Lord Goa? All my ethics, etc. Yeah. So those kind of questions are for me more important. That what I want to do, how should I do, what kind of life I want to live. I want to be, everybody says, be a better human being, which I used to teach my son when he was growing up, 5, 6, and he will say, why? I will say, well, you should be nice to these people. You shouldn't shout at that fellow. You shouldn't steal this thing. And he will say, why? So what do I say? Because the role model showed terrible you are, more powerful and famous you are. That's what the society actually gives you the example. More terrible the person you are at an individual level, population level, country level, more powerful and famous you are. So why should I be good? So that is a more important question for me. And what makes me do certain things the way I would like to do. So that is also
Yes,
part of being a scientist. Sorry, who said that?
can I say something? I
Please,
think
welcome.
I'm not a biologist, but I would really back the argument you put that it's a social environment, which is how men or women's brain it works.
Exactly.
When you can see that in some countries, women are more active and they are performing, better than men in a lot of fields because they got the chance to do it.
Yeah.
While in other countries, other parts where patriarchy is strong and there women are more passive, and then of course they don't get a chance, because intelligence is not something which is static.
Yep.
It's a matter of developing intelligence, and so I think
No, that's a great comment coming from you, Rubia ji. She is professor of law and ethics. So this whole concept of justice, that's where it comes. What do we think as a fair life or fair treatment? And that is change. If it was the same notion everywhere, there will be no wars or other things going on. So that is where it comes. What do we value? And then who gets the chances? Like at home, cooking is supposed to be done by women in most of the cultures. But when that cooking gets highly paid, still 90% of the cooks in professionally highly paid job, they are men. Huh? Same activity becomes so important. So it's a matter of how do we value in which context. And Rubia's point is so important that if you give, like in the hunter-gatherer societies, which was about 25, 30,000 years ago. So gatherers were mostly dependent upon women to survive on a daily basis because the hunter may or may not be able to get the hunt. But then agriculture turned it around somewhat more. Agriculture brought women more into a controlled space and more reproduction and other things. But that's a huge area. So all these male-female differences are, there may be biological difference, but should there be sociological difference? That's the important distinction. Biologically, nobody says we are all same and equal. No, two people. I am such a small, little, short, fatty guy. If I want to run with somebody, I'm the biggest loser. So
it's a very interesting discussion and also very interesting
Rubia ji,
meeting.
switch on your
But I'm sorry.
video.
Huh?
If you can switch on your video, it will be nice to
Yes,
see you.
okay. In fact, okay, I'll just try. In fact, I have to go for another meeting now.
Good
Can you see
excuse.
me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very
No,
much
just
for
to
the
have some
meeting,
impression that other
everybody.
people. Yeah,
Yes.
Rubia is from Pakistan originally, but so she has been living in Denmark like me for more than 40 years now. So
Okay. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, but these points you have brought, they are
I
very important. And scientists at young stage, all these biotech students, they must know it already, which our education system does not expose them to those things.
That's right.
Fraser is raising her hand. Fraser,
I
are
have to
you
leave
raising
now.
hand or
Bye
you are
bye.
just scratching? No, that's your background. That's your background showing as if you are scratching your head. Okay.
So I have one more question.
Yes.
So in the context of your work on cellular stress responses, how
Mhm.
might stem cell be used to enhance the body's ability to repair itself at when body gets aged?
Well, stem cells have that fantastic property, but they need what we call the microenvironment, the ambience. You can put perfectly functional stem cells for even bone repair in an old body, but if all the other endocrinological imbalances are there, those stem cells cannot do a thing. Yeah. I worked with the telomerase immortalized bone marrow stem cells for a while for the heat shock response. Yes, we could induce them to make better osteoblasts, better different types of cells by giving a small heat shock. So stem cells are also being used for hormetic research also. But stem cells is not the panacea or solution to all the problems because they have to perform in a very complex body. And most of the time, they fail. They can do for short time that you need. But that's a very, very important area, and there is more technologies coming up. There will be fantastic improvements. That's why I want to educate and support you guys. You will bring those technologies and approaches. I can only
But
as a yeah. Pardon?
in your view, do you think that they have the potential to bring
Mhm.
some change or are capable of leading to a healthy aging?
Not as a holistic thing, not for the whole body, but as a target situated where there is a problem, maybe they do help. They already help. It's like many of the vitamins and other things also, that if you have a deficiency, they are very good to help you. But if you don't have the deficiency, then most of the time that's just a eating and raising. So that way, if stem cells targeted at a specific disease, or situation, disease is a big word, yes, they can be helpful, but at the moment we don't know also the targeting and rest. Important thing is this total microenvironment where stem cells have to perform.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So biologists, please read sociology, read psychology, read philosophy, read mythology, read everything, and then find out what you want to do and also very clearly why you want to do. Those of you who want to come into longevity medicine, what for? What do you want to give? Because these things won't happen very quickly. Things are happening fast. Uh, so these two questions should also be clear, even when you do very boring, nitty-gritty molecular biology experiment. That's fine. That's what I have also done all my life. But the bigger view is very, very important to keep. And as I forgot to tell that now I declare myself as an elder in gerontology. वो पुराने जमाने में होते थे ना, the old people, the elders of the society, but they were so rare, so people will listen to them. Now every person, Tom, Dick, and Harry like me, I also want to become old. So, but I declare myself as elder in gerontology, where I can help you to maybe get exposed to many things, but you are the ones going to do it and bring the technology. Gurcharan is also Professor Emeritus now. I am Emeritus. Most of us are going to be Emeritus for a few years and then die and finito. So, so you guys prepare yourself multiple. Don't just stick to one area, please.
We actually had a question based on mythology
Yeah.
in here from Priya. In mythological text, we see different more abilities of learning, doing multitasking, etc. Today, there are many changes in that. What changes are seen in the brain it's processing that could be a factor for changes in learning? What are the changes over this period? A lot of brain questions. I've noted a lot of brain
Because
questions.
that is what mostly we are obsessed about. From scientific rationality, the top of the agenda is the brain research. Yeah, because that's where we think our life is, personality is. But when you do sociological research and ask people what kind of research you expect from me to do for you. You know what is the top three things? Brain comes there, but it's number 6 or 7. The top is mobility. I should be able to move around. The second is continence, my control over my digestive system. The third is appetite. Yeah, but because brain is supposed to control everything, then everything goes there. Fine. So, but improving brain, taking hints from mythology as multitasking. Well, I don't know whether our multitasking abilities are improving or decreasing. Actually, they are decreasing, Gurcharan, because now we can't. I used to remember at least 20 phone numbers of my friends, and no, I can't remember even my own. Yeah, because we have outsourced brains jobs to many technology. It has given us a lot of free brain capacity, but we are perhaps not using it nicely. We are using it only for scrolling. So multitasking must have become much more difficult now in modern times. Is that so, Gurcharan? Would you say
Yes,
something?
yeah. Actually, here I would also like to add that, it's your brain, like your body, is plastic. Plastic means adaptation.
Mm.
Okay. So, I've been working in the area of adult brain plasticity. So, that means that the synapses, the connections between the neurons, which are responsible for the traveling of all the information processing and everything, they have they show structural changes, no, with experience, with exposure, with adaptation. Okay. Sometimes somebody suffers from some brain injury, and there are rehabilitation facilities which will help to the neurons to again make new connections, no. So it's not just a
Mm.
biochemical changes which are taking place across the neurons. It is also the structural change, new synapse formation. So we call it
Mm.
adult brain plasticity, not just during the developmental periods, but even in the adult brain.
Yep.
So as
That,
per your exposure, your experience, or your maybe some traumatic experiences in life, your brain does get adapted, provided you have that inclination and you have that positivity and attitude also. Like that again really makes a lot of difference, that you have all the support system and you have your own support also to make it again working, no. It does
well, this is a
help.
very important thing. The plasticity of the brain stays throughout life, although it
Right,
becomes
yeah,
slower. It
even
can
in the
still
adult.
learn the things, but maybe
Right,
a bit
yeah.
slowly.
Yeah,
Important part for our brain's social importance is first 7 or 8 years of life are the most crucial for how we are going to live rest of our life, because that
yeah,
is where some default settings, especially about our food preferences, our belief system, yeah, what we believe, can we become sort of better human beings or entry. First 7 years of life of a child are so important, psychologists have worked. That is where children need to be exposed for a better, longer human being life. Plasticity is there, which is wonderful. It will take a bit longer for me to learn a new app or something, but I will learn it. So younger people have to be patient with me. Yeah. So don't cut. So you are faster. Good luck. Very good. That's why little children can solve it. But that's the important. It doesn't totally disappear, except in some areas of the brain, maybe we cannot respond.
yeah. And I think like another important aspect here for the youngsters is that, as you said, first few years of life are very important when all the neurodevelopment is taking, yeah, actually up to the adolescent stage. That's the
Mm.
project we have
Oh,
done recently. So that phase also we call window of opportunity.
yes.
And what we have seen is that unhealthy lifestyle during the childhood and adolescent phase, it makes it really leads to some misfiring in the brain, and those children and adolescents who are obese or overweight and
Mhm.
are having some say unhealthy lifestyle habits, they suffer. There is scientific evidence available now to show that they suffer from lifestyle diseases early on in life, those who have unhealthy lifestyle during the childhood and
Right.
adolescence, no. That's very important because that's a time period neurodevelopment is taking place, and those the misfiring we say during that time really has long-term impact.
Yeah. So the parents have to be very careful.
Right, very careful.
Why children become obese. So this is
Community,
those are the
parents.
again social things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the basic your chance of genetic hand of cards which you got by chance, that already starts affecting even before your birth. There's the prenatal factors which affect aging 55 years
Right.
later, things
Yep.
like
Yep.
diabetes and other. Yeah, those are beyond our control. But early childhood bringing up, if parents are all the time fighting and arguing, children are compensating with, of course they tend to become old or whatever other. There are hundreds of reasons. This is where sociology becomes so important
Important. Yep.
for biology.
Yep.
And biologists think, no, I'm a molecular biologist. I don't need to know anything. This is the brain, this and brain that. No. This brain is highly modulated every day. With single word, I can upset your whole day.
This is something I've often wondered about with the biohacker community, whether said about Brian Johnson and he takes his 1,000 pills a day, his blueprint. I wonder whether he causes himself more stress in doing this, in trying to follow all of this routine that then accelerates his own.
He had a totally ducked up life. Yeah, I don't use it with a F, I call it with a duck, with a D. Yeah, so that you see the documentary. Messed up, traumatic life, whole life. And now at the end, you will see in the film where he says, I am happy. And his mother was getting so emotional. I have never heard my son say that he's happy. Then you will find out why he says he's happy. Not because of 1,000 pills or injections. Happiness for him came from his social engagement. How important that becomes. But watch that film from that point of view and see what is the history, why he's doing all these things. Totally messed up childhood. Yeah. He was also obese and ill and a lot of things happen. It's worth spending 1 hour, 20 minutes or whatever. Don't Die. That's the title of the Netflix documentary. Yeah.
Interesting.
And he
Yes.
has got hundreds of thousands of
I have
people.
one
Yeah.
question.
Okay, please.
How do cultural and societal factors shape the physical structure of the brain over generations?
Very important question, Karthik. We don't have biological quick answers, but you can just go read 1,000 or 10, 20,000 year history of human culture. How have we changed or not changed? We have definitely, our brains have become much different than our ancestors 20,000 years ago or 50,000 years ago. But where we are now, maybe I can recommend Yuval Harari's 2 books, Unstoppable Us, Volume 1, Volume 2. Why we are what we are today. And culture has very powerful influence, even on the structure, but because we don't have the pictures from 10,000 years ago, of course, the meditation people's research by all these fMRI and other things with the Buddhist, they do show even structural differences, how serious or various types of meditations do. So there are evidences for that yes, you can modify even structurally to some extent. What is your interest, Karthik? Why are you so interested in these aspects?
Because I'm an engineering student, so that's why.
Okay, very good. So you would like to improve the design of our structures by doing some things.
Yeah, I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
How to integrate with core AI?
How to integrate with AI? Well, we don't know. The AI is developing in such a strange manner, these emergent properties of that we have no idea where it's taking. If we can take the help of AI in keeping our human values, which we think are important, again, that is a big question, which human value is important in which culture, society, which time, then AI can be fantastic. But if we start giving the social and emotional and ethical decision making also to AI, we might be trapped because AI will optimize for maybe efficiency or for something else. So combining AI with intelligence, with artificial intelligence, with real intelligence will be beautiful. I would love to do that. I have started slowly using Chat GPT to get certain queries answered. And the way it comes out fantastically, I want to steal that little write-up, but that's not my write-up. Yeah, like we were using Google search engine before, but now all these chat, and today they're talking about the Chinese one. What is it called? The Deep Seek or something. That's performing even better. So yes, Karthik, bring AI and biology together, but somehow put systems so that AI does not bypass me. It's my own selfish interest. I wouldn't like to be bypassed as a human being.
I think we have one more question. One final
Okay,
question,
well,
if you have time. How can we study prenatal factors? Which are they?
Well, there are actually a lot of studies published. I even have in the field of aging in this book series, prenatal exposure. There was a wiser man who was doing a lot of stuff. I am not up to date the methodology, how they do most of the time during and before pregnancy, during pregnancy, they start measuring things. The book I can recommend is in this book series, and that's called the Early Life Exposure. And how, so I have to recheck it out to give you a correct answer that what is the method used. There is a lot of psychology and a lot of clinical science involved there, and nutrition science. Woman's nutritional status during pregnancy has such powerful effects 50 years later.
Can I add?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is like for prenatal factors, since I'm now very interested to look into the obesity factor and even the prenatal. There are reports that children born to the obese mothers, not only mothers, obese fathers also, they have very early onset of lifestyle diseases like diabetes or the hypertension and some heart diseases. No, so it's basically obesity is the low grade chronic inflammation, no, chronic low grade inflammation in the body. So the womb or the exposure of the developing fetus and the embryo and the fetus is in the inflammatory environment, where already the level of inflammatory, pro-inflammatory cytokines is higher. So that is considered to be one of the factors which is responsible for early onset of lifestyle diseases, even if the child is not obese, but born to the obese parents. And it's very easy to measure the level of those inflammatory cytokines, and obesity, of course, one can easily measure the. So this is
those things are also connected with the genetic hand of cards and then the
right,
epigenetic
stability.
Yeah.
Both,
what has
both.
Some things can be reverted later on by changing their child's thing. Some things may not be even able to be reverted.
Right.
But yes, but the methodology question from him, I would love to read a bit more. How do they bother to get all the biological samples? But what you have said is absolutely, absolutely correct. And even the psychological status of the mother. That's what in that book, Wiser Man's book.
That links it to the stress now. The stress and stress hormones.
Like if we terrify a woman to produce only the boy, so she keeps on reproducing, and every time she is pregnant again, she has 9 months of terror. Yeah. So society needs to change. Now we have technologies to search it, but that technologies are then misused in many countries. The sex ratios in many parts of India are horrible. So her stress that, oh dear, another time, another going to, those things will affect tremendously. Yeah. But again, this is again psychology over biology.
Yeah.
And psychology is basically ingrained also in sociology. So you have to have all these, and all these three then depend upon economy. That can you do things what you want people to do? People are generally obese in these rich societies. Those people who are poor, they are the fatty ones, because they are the ones getting the cheapest food, sugar-loaded McDonald's. Because the rich families have found out that no, we need to go to the gym and we need to do high-quality food. but the majority people, the working, and that's where the obesity is. So when we talk about obesity, it has to be talked in that context. Who is becoming fat? Do they even get food or pleasure? That's the only thing. And that data is available for America, especially which communities are more fat. And that goes directly with the economics of the society, healthcare of the society.
But India is just the opposite, no? It's an elite class because
in the
they can
beginning, it is
afford.
elite class. Yeah.
Yeah,
In the beginning,
they
it
can
is that.
afford. Yeah,
But when,
yeah,
they can afford that junk food, which
junk
is
food.
highly priced. But if that food becomes cheaper than the good food, like it has become in most of the Western world, then it goes to the poor people. At the moment, that's a status symbol, going to
Right.
McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza King. But the poor people are forced to look for that kind of food. There was a beautiful film, a Tamil film a few years ago I saw, where this labor children, they are seeing this pizza guy, and there's a famous actor there, and they are looking, and he's able to save some money, and he wants pizza, for that. So this is how the social, but that's again, we don't want to digress into that area. But what you want to do, you have just sent me yesterday your new book proposals outline. I will start reading it. But that's a very important issue, and educate people as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I cannot recommend exercise to a rickshaw puller in India or a farmer. Oh, you should be more active. It's very good. Bloody hell, he's dying of that kind of exercise because he can't even get food. So all this calorie restriction and other things, I never talk in Indian lectures. Yeah, for whom? This is for the we privileged people, educated high class. By the way, I am coming to Bengaluru for a Longevity India conference. That's why I got confused about your group also. It's called Longevity. There is a 3-day conference they have first time doing in Indian Institute of Sciences, where I am also, but we will only talk 20 minutes each. Brian Kennedy is there, Mark Madsen is there. A lot of us are there. So that's the 10, 11, 12th March. Yeah. Dylan, I think we should now,
I'm gonna
unless
bring it to a
somebody is
close.
really, really want to say something. Hey, anybody wants to?
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Then I want to say, I have to ask one more.
Is it Karthik? Okay, last question to you, please.
Yeah. Can the brain truly revive itself to compensate for significant damage, such as losing an entire hemisphere?
Not entire, to some extent, and there are chance cases available where he said, oh, somebody got lost even half of the brain and it was totally functional, or a spear came in the. Those are pure chance events, but deliberately in saying how much damage it can tolerate and adapt, I don't think for human beings anybody will allow those kind of experiments to be performed. But whether there are experiments in animals by deliberately destroying and seeing, is it okay? Again, Gurcharan is my neurobiology expert.
Yeah, actually, it also depends on the age. If the injury is during the early childhood or adolescent phase, the chances of recovery are much more compared to when it is in the adult brain, and especially in the aged individuals, no, there's very less chance because this repairing ability or plasticity, what we call adult brain plasticity, is very high potential in the young brains because that time the brain is still developing and it has the inherent property of making new connections and all going on. But if it is adult brain or old age damage, it's very, very difficult, very rare, and also it depends which part of the brain is damaged and what function it is controlling.
But are there any experimental studies with the animal system deliberately destroying 1%, 5%, 10%? In culture, we say, we use only 10% of the ability of the brain. I don't know where that myth has emerged. So
I think that will not work because every part of your brain has some specific function to perform.
Yeah.
So you will be compromising, say, at a time if you destroy one part. Cortex itself is huge. There was one question, neocortex. It's not just one part. This is huge, and it has several sub parts or several regions controlling different functions in the body. So it depends which part of the brain is damaged and what function it is performing, and how that particular function is affecting the functioning of your whole body.
Yeah, but Karthik wanted to know what is the human situation. So, well, human
Yeah,
situation generally is by accidents, by chance, what kind of
by
patient comes, and
accidents. That,
sometimes,
that incident,
yeah.
Suresh, that incident which has happened recently in my family, and that
Oh.
child who's 14 years of age, and he got major brain injury because it was like his brain was hit so hard from one side left, and the whole brain moved. And it has been 9 months, and he's showing recovery, but it is very slow. But the doctor says, yes, there are chances of his recovery because he's still in the adolescent phase of life. But if it was, say, 30 plus, 40 plus, then there was no chance with that type of injury which he has suffered. So
But
that's
will he
why
ever recover completely? Nobody can say until it
no
happens.
guarantee, nothing.
Yeah.
Although he's
Oh.
getting best of the best treatments in India,
Yeah.
but still the doctors are not sure how much recovery, especially with cognitive functions, it'll be there. Yeah.
Okay, Karthik, no questions from you now. Now let's find out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll wrap up here.
Yes.
So I'd like to say, if you enjoyed this fireside chat, we have a second collaborative talk with LifeXtension on Thursday with Dmitry Kaminsky. Please do come along to that one as well if you can. Thank you everyone for coming, and especially to Dr. Rattan and Dr. Kaur for asking so many of our questions and sharing what life has taught you.
Great, thank you very much. Hope to see your other lecture. Kaminsky, I think he's the frailty guy. I will send me the information, please. I will attend his lecture.
I will do.
I think I know him. Yeah. Eugene, he's in England. I know him. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Bye for
Bye,
today.
everyone.